There was a lecture stroke lunch in memory of the third president of Kenya, Emilio Mwai Kibaki. Some of us can just imagine being called there. We can never be called. We don't know who is calling, who is inviting who, and we can even spend next century waiting when it's not coming. It is similar to what happens to the national medals such as Order of the Grand Warriors, such things, Uhodari medal. They just give among themselves. They can never follow the truth. So I'll have my own lecture here on Kibaki, my experience on him, and then from there, that one was lunch. Me, I'll have supper here. Alone. Now, I remember my interaction with Kibaki. I think during Kenyatta's time, everybody knew all the ministers. Actually, this thing about a minister staying for I don't know how long, and then he or she is transferred and whatever. In Jomo Kenyatta's time, look at the 15 years that Jomo Kenyatta was the president. Let's say 10, from 1964 to 1974. Those are 10 years. Dr. Njoroge Mungai was a minister for only 2 ministries. He was the Minister for Defense and then later on Minister for Foreign Affairs. Isaac Omoro Okero was a minister for transport and communication. Robert Matano was the Minister for Information. So you find it was we used to cram the names of the minister. You stayed in that ministry until if Muthiora would not have disposed of Joroge Mungai would have been the Minister for Foreign Affairs throughout. That is when the ministry was given to, I think, Munyo Wayaki. That is when the ministry was given to Munyo Wayaki. Now you find that those things nowadays don't happen. They don't happen. It even happens that a minister can be appointed, pass through the vetting, and even 6 months later, I know of a few ministers, a few months later, that minister is not just transferred, but just dropped, maybe given a soft landing as an ambassador or something like that. And being made an ambassador, you also have to be vetted according to the current constitution. So you find that during Jomo Kenyatta time, only 2 ministers read the budget. The first minister to read the budget was James Gichuru, and the other one who read the budget for a very long time was Mwai Kibaki. I'm talking about Kibaki, but let me talk about James Gichuru and his budget reading. Budget reading has gone two different changes. Nowadays, you find that the minister for when the minister for finance wants to read the budget, he is given a motorcade. He's given a motorcade. What do you call? He's given a motorcade escort from the treasury to the parliament. The reason being that it was a time when Musalia Mudavadi was minister for finance, that when he was trying to read the budget, he was lucky that some opposition MPs did not even snatch that budget and run away with it. So it is because of that Mudavadi is reading the budget that it was changed. It was changed such that the Minister for Finance has to be given a proper escort to Parliament. The other thing is the Minister for Finance had to get more than one budget speeches, because if you snatch that one, another one will come up and he'll pick up from where he was. That is the second change, that drastic change has been there. The first one had to do with James Gichuru. James Gichuru is the first person to have started reading budgets. There was a time when even the president had come. Usually the minister for finance during those days when we had the ministers who were MPs would come after the vice president. So from when the minister of finance has come after the vice president, then the president would come. When the president comes, he finds that. But James Gichuru, there was a time when even the president was in parliament waiting for the parliament speech, but James Gichuru was nowhere to be seen. So what they did was that somebody knew where James Gichuru took alcohol. Is it Luthuli Avenue or River Road? They followed him there. Said, mtukufu rais anakungoja kusoma budget. Say, patia ye chupa mbili tatu. That's why Gichuru was removed from the Ministry of, from the Treasury and replaced by Emilio Mwai Kibaki. But my interaction with Emilio Mwai Kibaki started in June 1976. June 1976, I was in Form 1 at Nairobi, at Technical High School, Nairobi. I was in Form 1 Technical High School, Nairobi. Then one day, I think it was Wednesday, the day before the budget reading, I left for lunch early and went to Joseph Nasongo Mulanda's place for lunch. Now, Joseph Nasongo was a son of Mulanda, and I am a son of Lando. Now, Lando and Mulanda were step brothers, both sons of Huatenge. Of course, I was named after my grandfather, so I'm Huatenge, grandson of Huatenge. Now, I don't like calling Joseph, the late Joseph Mulanda Nasongo, as my first cousin or cousin. I prefer calling him my brother, big brother of another father. I tend to prefer calling him that. So I went to his house, Karioko Civil Servants' house there, opposite Krima Market. When I went there early, I saw there was a pickup outside his house. There was a pickup outside his house, and he was supervising offloading things. Yeah, I told him, bro, why you're stocking things in your house as though you want to open a shop? He told me that tomorrow is the budget day. Tomorrow is the budget day, and people, when on the budget eve, people try to guess things that will be increased. Their prices will be increased, so they buy those things in plenty. And he also told me that shopkeepers, when they see people buying things in plenty, they also hoard those things, because after midnight, those things will raise up the price. So I then asked him about budget. To be frank with you, is that my love for Emilio Mwai Kibaki was brought about by Joseph Nasongo Mulanda, because when he talked about Emilio Mwai Kibaki, I was so mismerged. According to him, although it is not exactly true, but according to him, he told me that Kibaki prepares, he burns the midnight oil alone and prepares the budget. He told me even the president, when he's listening to the budget, he knows nothing about it. and that okay, he didn't know about things as direct of budgets. He didn't have an idea of such and other things. So according to him, Kibaki prepared everything, and everybody, including the president, would be hearing it for the first time as it will be read. I admired Kibaki. And then I asked my brother, you say I should call him cousin. I insist calling him brother. I asked my elder brother, Joseph Nasongo Mulanda. I told him, and how can someone be like him? He told me that for somebody who is in form, no, that one I asked somebody in my form 3, yeah. Asked somebody in my form 3, but not Nasongo. But there is a time I asked somebody in form 3, how can one become an economist? Then he told me that in secondary school you have to learn commerce, and then in high school you have to learn economics. So back to form 1, that was what I was told in form 3. Back in form 1, the following day, that afternoon, I didn't go to school. I can say that the budget day on when I was in form 1, 1976, budget day when I was in form 2, 1977, budget day when I was in form 3, 1978, and the budget day I did the 1979, I sneaked out of school and went to a place where there was TV. Those days TVs were black and white. I went to watch Kibaki. I can tell you that all those budgets that he used to read in the 4 years, 76, 77, 78, and 79, I understood nothing. I understood nothing. I was just, for those of you who like Lingala music and do not know Lingala, you may find two Congolese talking to each other, and you just sango nini sango osaboni naza malamu loba naza na koloba makambote. You just admire them and you don't know what they are talking. That is how I used to admire Kibaki. He would talk English, but if you asked me what he was talking, I would not understand. Not only me, ask any Kenyan. The Kenyans would say they never understood what Kibaki said. He would talk of exchequer. He would talk of whatever foreign balance deposit, whatever. He would talk for hours without getting tired, and with a very good accent in English, and we would admire and listen to that. But nothing we understood. But what people used to do, Kenyans used to listen to that budget live on TV or even on radio. But they understood nothing. Only what Kenyans used to like was, especially adults, they used to like this issue of after there was the after budget, what do you call, press conference. After budget press conference is what Kenyans were used to listen to, and they used to it used now to be simplified. Where how it was being simplified was that we have 3 types of economies, but I don't know whether there are still 3, but those days there were 3. There was the fixed economy, which is communism, and to some extent socialism. Let's say communism. Then we had free economy, free market economy. Then we had the mixed economy. Now, fixed economy, the government set price of everything. And free economy, you just, like now, I think a loaf of bread is 60 shillings. So if you start selling your loaf at 100, you'll be forced, people will be forced to reduce it to the level that people will start buying. So market, what do you call, market powers determine the price of things. But in a mixed economy, which was mostly socialist and Kenyans, was that is that prices of essential commodities, prices of essential commodities were fixed by the government, but non-essential commodity, it was free fall. So that is the time when you'd hear Kibaki saying that from tomorrow a loaf of bread, we have increased the price of a loaf of bread by 5 cents. Would say such a thing. Everything would be talked at that time. That is what people used to understand. So from there, every time a budget was there, I would do that. Then, as I said, when I reached in Form 3, when I reached in Form 3, I asked people if how can I study the budget reading and something like that. Then they told me that you could only do that if you registered for commerce in your secondary level, and then in the high school you would do Form 5 and Form 6 is the high school. You would study economics. Then that is when I registered for commerce. I'm I'm among. I don't think we could even reach 50 people in the whole country who were in a technical school and had registered for commerce. We taught ourselves. We taught ourselves. We did not have a teacher to teach us. And I remember I bought a book that was called B-U-T, which was called Essentials of Commerce. I did study that on my own, just because I admired Emilio Mwai Kibaki. So when I admired him and I studied that, I continued the whole of Form 4. When the exams came, the East African Examination Council, which was there before NEC took over from it, East African Examination Council had guessed that there is no way that a person from a technical school can do commerce. So the time when we were, there is this subject called technical drawing, which I would say the very basic architecture, the most basic architecture. We were having it at the same time when there was supposed to be commerce the same time. But lucky for us is that because of space and the geometrical tables, and no, drawing tables, not geometrical tables, they needed space and whatever. It meant that half of the students were supposed to be out, and half of the students had to be out, and the other half doing that one. So that day, the day I did commerce, I remember I did three. We were about how many? 10 or something. We did 3 different papers in one day. I don't think there is anybody who has done 3 papers in a day in Form 4. But during East African Examination Council, it was not possible. So what happened was we were placed in the first lot of technical drawing, and then all the people who are doing commerce, we were placed in the first lot, plus others. Then we made a half. Then when we completed that, we were supposed to go and relax and wait for the afternoon subject on a technical subject. I can't recall which one it was. But we, instead of going to relax and doing last minute revision, we went to a classroom, which was in that corner near school canteen. Actually, it is a room that people are not using it. I remember while we were doing maths, we were doing commerce, students came there and made noise, and the invigilator would even tell them, get away, there's an exam there. And they were shocked because that is not a place where, but you see that commerce is a subject that was not in a technical school, so a room was just set aside. What happened was that when we started our commerce paper, we had an invigilator. She was a lady. She was an Indian lady. She was an Indian lady. When she came, she gave us instructions and asked if we have any questions. Then somebody rose up. I can't recall who it was. He told her that we are in a technical school. We are doing 3 subjects. We are so tired, whatever, whatever. So she asked, what do you want us to do? She said, allow us to copy from our textbooks. Hey, I've never seen somebody so scared and somebody so sweaty. So she stood at the door looking at the... Now, if you have been to technical high school, it is the, what do you call, it was the southeast end. And you see, she had to look diagonally to the office to see if anybody was coming across near. What we did was that there was a certain part which I think was contributing, is it 30 or 40% of the exam. These were questions which were ABCD. So we all discussed. I know you'll not believe it. I'm aware of exam cheating in Nairobi Technical, 2 of them. The other one, somebody whom I'll not name, had indicated that I was very good in maths. That's why I did maths and additional maths. If you know anybody who did the O level and he tells or she tells you that somebody did maths and double maths, they'll tell you that was a mathematical genius. So somebody used to try and convince me that we do certain aspects of revision, but I would brush him off. And on the exam day, after we had completed the papers, he told me to show him. Those papers used to be the color of this wall behind me. So that is Form 4. Form 6 was pinkish. So he used to tell me, let us do some maths, because I was number 2 in maths. The number 1 used to be a nation called Valji Devji Rapadia. Yeah. Ravji Devji Rapadia was the best mathematics student in technical high school, 1979. I was the second best. So this fellow used to come to me trying to... I said, no. Looking at the past papers, I don't see the topic you are covering having been mentioned. So I don't think they'll come on that. And so the day when we did the exam, mathematics exam, not additional maths, but alternative S, when I left it was in the chemistry lab. That is where I did my maths. When I completed doing maths, as I went out, he followed me and told me, Kwatenge, hebu nionyeshe hiyo kara... I was not I was not rude. I would have told him, don't you have yours or anything? But I just showed him. Then he showed me a photocopy of the very same exam. I've never seen him to know what he got in maths. But that is the first case I was aware of exam cheating that year. Somebody, after we had completed maths, he came out. You know, when you are entering the exam room, there is a place where you leave your papers and whatever there, extra things that are not needed in the exam room. As you leave, you pick those things. So he had left his photocopy there. So when he called me, showed me, but I was so good in maths because I even did it in high school, advanced level. That is the first case I saw. It didn't involve me. But I'm talking of this one, which involved me. So it was commerce. And when we were doing commerce, we started discussing. Question number 1, we would all agree the answer is C. We all mark C. But there is some questions we didn't agree. So when we were arguing, you would find the class, half of the class is saying this, the answer is B, the other half is saying the answer is D. So when we argued, the teacher would say, those who think the answer is D, place it in D. Those who think it, and then move on. We did that. And then that was part one. Part two used to talk of, you are given, I think, 6 questions, and you're told to choose any 4. So we started with question number 1. We discussed, and then the Asian lady would tell us, now write in your own language. Write in your own language what you understand by the question. The person who got best in that class in commerce got an 8. Got an 8. Now, for those people who did 763, an 8 is equivalent to D minus. An 8 is equivalent to a D minus. Now, what had happened, we later came to understand, is that those here, instead of 1979, the number of exam cheats had risen to a level that previously, if they suspected that you have stolen even one paper, one question, they would mark the whole that you gotten 3 marks and whatever. They would disqualify you. There's these things I don't know. I don't know. I've been out of school for long. Is it X or Y? One which is it X? Maybe X means that you registered but you are not there on the day of the exam. Either you are sick, or there are even those who had died before that day, or even some who have absconded. So X is somebody. Okay, I'm not very sure, but let us say that X means somebody who registered but did not sit. And then Y, let's say it means that somebody stole the exam. So they saw that placing there a lot of Ys to show that exams were cheating, it came to be a bad picture. So what they used to do is that once they suspected you that you have stolen, they would give you 5 to 6 marks. If you are lucky, 7. That is why the whole class, irrespective of us having discussed, having a group discussion, the best, we half got 8, half got 9. Meaning half got D minus and half got E. That is what happened to this issue of commerce. But then I did well. I got a strong division 3. A strong division 3 in 844 language, that is a C plus. And joined Bungoma Boys. When I joined Bungoma Boys, I wanted to do, I was called for maths, geography, and economics, but I didn't want to do geography. So I placed there Kiswahili as the 4th subject, and never attended a class of geography. So at the end of the form 6, if people who have been to school, and did the same set books at the same time, they usually discuss those set books. But you'll never find me discussing geography set books, the 1981 advanced level set book of geography. I don't even think I can remember even one. But if we talk about Kenya Advanced Mathematics Projects for A levels, that one I can tell you. If we talk about Kiswahili, I can talk about it. If we talk about economics, Todaro, and such things, I can talk it. That is how I did it. And in Form 5 and Form 6, I told you that from Form 1 to Form 4, I used to sneak. From Form 1 to Form 4, I used to sneak to just listen to the language that Kibaki is talking and be impressed by that. But in Form 5 and 6, budget day, we used to go to dining hall where there was a TV, a black and white TV, and we could listen to that and we could take notes. We used to have pre-budget discussion. Then we go to both Form 5 and 6 students who are taking economics. We would go, before going there, we would have discussions, whatever, whatever. Then from there, we would go and listen to the budget. And then when the budget was over, that evening during preps, we would discuss budget, how it is as economic students. That is how it was. And we continue that way. After completing school, as somebody who had done economics, I still followed that. I also came to admire Kibaki for his gentleman type of politics. That is how he found that I was a pro-Kibaki through and through. It so happened that way. But unfortunate thing about Kenya is this. Whenever you talk anything, people try to look at it from tribal. Either you belong to a certain tribe, or like 2 days ago, somebody was telling me, I was talking about Luo tradition. They're saying, Huatenge, you know Huatenge is a Bukusu name. So you Huatenge, you're a Bukusu, you hate you hate Luos, and that is why you are writing that. So in Kenya, they look at things from tribal lenses, and then they do that. My admiration of Kibaki was first as an economist. Then second, I later came to see his politics as that one of gentlemanship. That is why I came to like him. So when multi-party came in 1992, he started a Democratic Party. When he started Democratic Party, anybody who knew me in Nakuru, I just told them to their face that I like Mwai Kibaki, and it is only that I'm in the civil service that I cannot register in his political party. Those things were happening that way. And you see some people, you tell them, say, you are doing that because your mother is a Kikuyu from Nyeri, Kibaki is from Nyeri. That is what I used to be told. In fact, even the non-Nyeri Kikuyus who were supporting Matiba, they would even tell me that to my face. What happened as I finish off my topic? There was tribal clashes in Rift Valley. The whole of Rift Valley, I was in charge of criminal intelligence and intertribal. That is from Lokichokyo all the way to Loitoktok. Now I use all the reports that had to do with the intertribal, it had to do with the criminal activities, and even provincial administration, because I can say that the vetting of assistant chiefs and chiefs, which happened in 1992, those who were either appointed or promoted during that time, their vetting process, I had to have my signature. It had to have my signature. So we had various tribal clashes. We had Molo clashes and whatever. But then what happened is that I remember one time we had this inspector's room. We had, when you are a senior police officer, you are given your own office. But when you are an inspector or even an NCO, NCOs are given. But you find that a room that for the NCOs is so full of NCOs, but that one of inspector, there is about a quarter of that of the NCOs. So there was a time we were at the NCO's place, not in NCO's, inspectors, not chief inspectors had their own officers also. So when we were at the inspector's office, there was Okello, can't remember his other name. Then there was Gabriel Kinyanjui Ngodha. Gabriel, is it Gilbert or something? But I even remember meeting him one day and he was laughing, saying that Riruta satellite, there is Ngodha Road and there is Kinyanjui Road. So we had that one, we had Okello, we had several, and we used to discuss about things and whatever. Then there's a time we talked about Molo clashes. And when we talked, we really talked extensively. And then I told them, Mine was I was the most junior person in age, in experience, because most of them had been, the nearest was maybe 5 years older than me in service. So I was young in age and service and so on. And even in the inspectorate, they had gotten the inspectorship earlier than me. So there's a time we extensively talked about tribal clashes and whatever. We really talked about it. But the deputy provincial special branch officer, who was called Kimayo Kaino, Marakwet, one day I went and approached him and told him, he was a personal friend of my father. He was a personal friend of my father. And when I wanted to go home for a weekend, I didn't even ask for permission. I used to say, tell them, today is Friday. So what do you want me to go and tell your friend at home? Then he would tell me, go and tell my friend. So you see, that was the way how I used to seek for permission from him. I went to him, and when he saw me, he thought I was seeking for permission to rush home. Going home is also expensive because you have to have fare, and when you're at home, you have to spend money. So that time he thought I was going home. So when he saw me, he asked me, do you want me to tell you something that you should tell my friend? I said, no, I don't think I'm going this weekend at home, but there's something I wanted us to discuss. Then we discussed about tribal clashes in Molo extensively. Then he picked a phone, called the headquarters, Nyati House, briefed them from the notes he had taken from me, rough notes. Then Nyati said, can you write an extensive report on that? Then he told me, Nyati has said you write an extensive report. I went back to the inspector's room, told those people, Clement Masisa, Inspector Clement Masisa. There is, I can't remember all of them. So when we went and we were talking, I told them Nyati House once that. Then they say, wewe na kiherere yako. Sasa unaona umepali umejieka. Then I asked them, can't we write that report? It used to be called amalgamated report. Amalgamated report means that it is a combined report, but all the names of those who participated, even if you participated in one sentence, would be placed there. So I told them, let us write an amalgamated report. They refused. But what was produced was an amalgamated report. And if the truth has to be spoken, I participated very little. They talked of everything and whatever. And they only told me that should anything happen, I should blame myself. Because it is going to be a single report. It was written and it was forwarded to Nyati House. When it was forwarded to Nyati House, it was said that this young man is very clever and he knows how to assess things and evaluate issues. He should be promoted to the rank of chief inspector. So my name was forwarded to be, and Raphael Kimayo Kaino came to the office and said, there was a room there, I think it was number 15, which was a conference room where we would meet there from the youngest, the smallest person, an inspector, me, to the deputy commissioner who was the provincial boss. We would meet there every morning or anytime we had a meeting. So deputy would call us. Well, deputy would look at us and see we are in order. That is when he would go and tell the boss that the staff are ready. So when he was going to call the boss, he turned to me and said, kijana ya rafiki yangu, I'm going to promote, you are going to be promoted to chief inspector. Remember, some of the chief inspectors were inspectors when I was in secondary school, not even high school. Remember, secondary school, then I complete high school, spend 1 year, and then spend another 5 years to get them. And people were complaining. There are people who are complaining. Let me not mention their names. People are complaining bitterly. This fellow has been given promotion because of his father is a person of they conveniently forgot. They conveniently forgot that they conveniently forgot that it is the report that they refused to sign that had made me that. So they went slowly to the same person, Rafael Kimayo, and told him that, do you know something? This person you are promoting, he walks, dreams, and chants Kibaki. Said, can you prove that? And then they said, it's very easy. So one day, I had worked for 18 hours, non-stop. By 18 hours, I mean, from the time I woke up to the time I went to the office, stayed in the office for about 14 hours, 14. And where the office was is a place where you are not even supposed to leave the office because 1992 Nakuru was politically hotbed. So you could not even buy tea, you could not buy milk, you could not buy soda. It is 18 hours of working, writing notes and whatever. Then from there, I went to the police canteen, Kasarani police canteen, where I ordered for beef and ugali. And as it was being prepared, I decided to take a beer. They came and mixed whiskey. John Kabong and the late Faris Moriasi. Late Faris Moriasi came with a small bottle that is called quarter. They came and mixed with my beer on an empty stomach. Then they poked me. They are saying, tunajua ni mtu ya Kibaki. At first I was reluctant. Then I said, kwani iko nini? I started shouting, Kibaki oye, Kibaki oye. And you know, you are drunk and hungry and you have not eaten and you're drunk. So while going there, I stumbled on somebody and then turned back and saw it was Kimayo. Said, Kwatenga, I don't believe you are the one who's saying Kibaki. Kibaki, by the way, let me put the words in the proper sense. I was about to say Kibaki Tosha, but Kibaki Tosha came much, much later. What happened was, you know, I was reading a budget. I was saying about the exchequer, about balance of payment and whatever. Give Kibaki, he'll bring the things to the exchequer and whatever. That is how I lost my job, because of Kibaki. I'm proud of him.